We're here in Los Angeles, a few days away from Bellator 170, where Chael Sonnen meets Tito Ortiz in the main event at the Forum in Inglewood. Chael, how are you, sir?
Awesome, thank you.
Chael, you and Tito had your media scrums earlier today at the open workouts. I'm not sure if you stayed and listened to Tito, but he had some pointed words for you. One of the things that he said is that he doesn't feel like you're a legend of the sport. Do you have any response to that?
Yeah, I don't really know about that. I've always thought of the legends as old guys. I'm not totally sure what a legend means. Other than you got to be old to qualify. So maybe in time. Maybe I'll reach that status in time.
Perhaps after Saturday night?
I got a lot more work to do, man. I got a lot more work. I signed a 6-fight deal. I've always honored my contracts. I will honor this one. And no, let's hope not after Saturday night, man. I'm getting a little older, but I'm not yet old.
39?
39 years young. It's not how many miles the car has. It's how many miles the car has left.
Tito said this is going to be his last fight, and I think you answered this question already to me earlier. But I wanted to get your opinion on his legacy a little bit. I know you have a lot of respect for him. Do you think he is a legend, as the word that he put it earlier?
I consider Tito a legend, and that's not to go back on what I just said and call him old, but he started really young. Tito's been fighting a really long time and fighting at a high level. A lot of the guys he fought back then suck. That's true. But at that time, they were the top guys. He was truly the best in the world doing it at that time. He didn't duck anybody. He didn't dodge anybody. I can remember him stepping up in really hard fights. The Matashenko fight comes to mind, where they threw in a last-minute replacement and Tito went for. I think that Tito's done a very good job. I do consider him a legend.
One of the things that he said earlier was that he feels like you had said that you didn't get the same opportunities that he did. And he said that if you had gotten those opportunities, you would not have been able to run with them. And he said one of the things is that you're not a hard worker. Why do you think he said that? Where does that come from?
That's the first time I've ever had that one said about me. So I don't know. And I don't know Tito's work ethic. Maybe he's comparing it to his own and he thinks he outworks me. I would be stunned if that were true, but I would say this. I don't know what I could have done with him at that time. Tito did a very good job and really helped the industry and the organization. My contention from the beginning of this is that I beat him when we were kids, and I would have stopped him from being the UFC champion. I would have stopped him from being in the Hall of Fame. Those things don't bring me pleasure. I'm glad that Tito had good successes, but I knew exactly where I stood in the world. I was in the practice room every single day with world champions, Pride world champions, UFC world champions. I mean, you name it, I had them every single day. I knew everybody in the world that could whip my ass, and there was one guy, and his name was Randy Couture, and that's the truth. And the guys that were around back then will tell you the same thing. And meanwhile, I'm fighting down at the dog park because I couldn't get my opportunity. And that's just the reality of a fighter. It's very hard to break into this business. And Tito knew Tank Abbott, and Tito, right place at the right time, stepped right in, and he did run with it. I don't know that I would dispute that. But my claim has always been, had I been able to get in there, I would have beat them. I would have stopped them all. And that's either a true statement or it's not. But it's taken me 20 years to get the opportunity to find out one way or the other.
Back then, why didn't you call out Tito Ortiz? Why didn't you say kind of what you're saying now?
Well, so what had happened is Tito broke into the UFC. I was still in college. I didn't finish college till 2001. So I went right into MMA, and I did call out Tito back then. I was chasing Tito all the way back then, but when I finally got in the UFC in 2005, they had added weight classes. Now it wasn't just light heavyweight and heavyweight. There was multiple divisions. So I ended up in the middleweight class, 185 pounds, whatever that's called. And so we weren't going to cross paths. The closest we got is he jerked the curtain for me one night, and I main evented a show. But we weren't in the same division.
There's some new rules that are being implemented for the first time this month. I guess January 1st they all started. Are you aware of the new rules? Do you like them, dislike them? What do you think?
I don't know them all yet. I know what a grounded fighter is, which makes the sport extremely more dangerous. One thing this sport did not need was more danger. It's a pretty wide open combat sport. I was very surprised that rule got passed. I was very surprised that anybody suggested it. But a lot of laws surprised me. And once they're a rule, they're a rule. So we'll follow them and respect them, and that's it.
What makes it dangerous, you think?
Well, you have a choice when you're bent over and caught in a front headlock. You can defend the choke or you can defend the strike. They've taken that away. They said that the rule was being gamed, that somebody was setting their finger down and then raising it back up. Well, that's a down fighter. That's not gaming the system. That's what the rule is. If a finger touches, that's 3 points. That was very clear. That was very accepted. I don't know that I've missed a fight. I've seen more fights than I don't ever need to see a fight again. I've seen that many fights. I've never seen that rule gamed. I have no idea where that came from. And that was the argument. Don't forget, that was the argument, is that people were gaming the rule. I've never seen it. I've never even heard of it. I've never seen it in practice. I've never seen it coached. I've never heard a guy talk about it. I've challenged people in media like this, much like you, that's seen a lot of fights, and I'm waiting for somebody to go, well, actually, it happened. No one's ever said it. So they changed a rule where a person now has to choose between giving up their neck and being strangled, or they have to be kneed in the forehead. And I thought that was pretty reckless.
Have you voiced your opinion to anyone on the regulatory side about this?
Yeah, I voiced my opinion on it, but it was too late. It was already done, and I don't want to make a big deal about it. It is what it is, but I did find that I found that very confusing that even came up, particularly under the argument they used. The argument they used was that people are gaming the system, and my challenge is simply who? You went and made a sport that is the most combat impact-based sport on the face of the earth, in the face of the history of the earth, and you just made it more dangerous on purpose. I think that needs an explanation.
Randy Couture, obviously a good friend of yours, is on the committee that changed that rule. Have you spoken to him about that at all?
No. Let's move on. This is stupid. Go. Something else.
First fight for Bellator. It's your debut. What does it feel like being here?
Don't be one of those scumbags that edits that out. I said your question was stupid. Put that in there.
I'm not the editor.
My wife's filming it back here, and she'll put it out if you don't.
I don't edit.
I'm letting you know now, for whatever chicken is it. Give me the fucking microphone. You know what? I'm done.